how we are right now, even though we want it or not, when we transact monetarily, we are financing the system because people in control, like the factories and how the money flows and circulate, and it's totally directed toward those ends that we don't, at least I don't want this individually, but that's what we are creating. How can we stop that? So I think if we go into the kernel of the problem and we extract money from their creation, we can break the system completely. And my hot take is that we don't actually need money. We need resources and coordinated human labor. Like money is just a proxy for us to get that, the resources and the human labor, but it's a proxy that dehumanizes the transaction. So we don't actually see the humans. We don't have to create a relationship with the humans that are providing service for us and resources. So it's a system that allows the dehumanization, the exploitation, and all those things. And for one side, it can be look great because humans are difficult. I'm not naive to say that, to think that the world is perfect. Everybody is, it's cool and vibey together. I know that humans are difficult, and most often than not, we prefer some level of isolation. But uh, this level of isolation is limited. We do need friends. We do need to circle ourselves around people that support us, that have our back. So what we need is actually people willing to do stuff for us, and that we are willing to do stuff for them back. So all this energy that we spend in chasing paper, chasing money, going into a job that is not fulfilling for us, we actually should be putting this energy into building relationships, into finding our community and finding our support network, and finding people that we are actually pleased to help, pleased to assist, and that we know that we have our backs. And that's why kind of we are also with huge mental health crisis and crisis of isolation and all these other things, because we are so focused and competing and not treating others as humans, as peers, and creating this illusion that we are independent. I mean, while we are actually interdependent, we need each other to survive. These also create like depressions and all those crises of belonging that we are seeing now. So we so normalize putting profit not only over but against everything sacred, like life and relationships and feeling loved and welcomed and nurtured. That And we are following kind of blindly this path. And I don't know if you're familiar with donut economics, but I believe you probably are. But it's like this economic framework that explains like how we could like create like a safe space for our economy to transact that won't hit our ecological ceiling and create all this damage that we're creating, like climate collapse and deforestation and biodiversity loss, air pollution, all these things, ocean acidification, all these outcomes that our current economic system is creating. But also uh we want um we won't disrupt, we won't break this social foundation that we need, like everybody being able to access water, food, health, education, and all these things that humans need to thrive and have dignity. So and we are we are crossing both barriers, like both social and ecological barriers. And and we should stop that. And I think that if we look inside, and if we look into our inner power, inner guidance, like as I did, and okay, I was called to create something. So I think everybody has like this inner calling, something that they are most interested to do, that their passions. And mm, um more often than not, the things that you're called to do is not profitable, and you realize, oh, and you turn this into a habit, and most of the time you cannot even turn into a habit because you would have to spend money to do that thing, and if you don't have money, then you end up not following your passion, and we end up with humans that are kind of completely lost, and a lot of unemployed people that are have their self value like underappreciated and completely cast out of society. Meanwhile, all these things, all the abundance they could contribute to their peers and themselves is it's not there, it's not being used and valued. So, and if you think like today, like how many bullshit jobs, I don't know if you know these terms, but like this job that people they say like, oh, I think my job creates no value to society. And David Graeber, uh the anthropologist that wrote about this, there's a book, and then he talks about it like, I think the percentage of people were around 50 or 40% of people would believe that what they're doing that has no value to society, and meanwhile all the energy they produce to do that, both like time energy but also kind of resources and planetary things, um planetary resources put into this type of work that nobody really wants to do. And we kind of feel it, we kind of feel it in our soul that we are kind of worthless, even though we have a job, even though we've been paid. We cannot really see in people's eyes the gratitude for our lives and our effort. And and yeah, it was just like we could do so much better. And and what I started looking into is like, yeah, how can we uh kind of pick this inner motivation, like this thing that you're called to create, how can we use that as the key driver for coordination instead of financial incentives? And what if you use psychology and behavioral science to create and push this alternate incentive system that are based on intrinsic motivations? And um, and behavior science, in understanding, I was kind of really drawn to like looking into what makes us do things, what are the things that push us into doing things, and financial incentive is just one of the things that we can explore. So there's so much other things that kind of push us. Peer motivate, peer pressure, this is not nice, but it's something effective. There's also this intrinsic motivation that I've mentioned. There's also social and environment, social learning. So there are a lot of things that kind of can trigger us into actions. And persuasive technologies is kind of field that looks into motivations in psychology and behavior science, and turn into like computers, how computers can be persuasive. There was a book written in 2003, like more than 20 years ago, from a behavior science professor, BJ Fogg. He wrote, the book was called Capitology: Using Computers to Change What We Think and Do. And this book was um the engine for how social media today is so addictive. So he wrote like different principles that we can use in designing technology, and how this principle can influence people to do stuff. And in the book, the he mentions a lot of like health examples of technology, persuasive technology, like a fitness app or educational app that you can use like a game to cheat about something. And it's really everywhere today, like in you totally have already experienced this persuasive technology, even though you haven't read the book or not familiar with the term. And my interest in it is looking at how can we use the same principles that have turned social media into such a uh pervasive thing. How can we use that to foster regenerative behaviors and incentivize people to actually act on what they care about? So that's kind of how TaskMate was born. It's like a task-centered social network that uses matchmaking to boost collaborative and regenerative actions. I don't know if I shared a demo. I'm vibe coding it, so I'm really thankful for AI and vibe coding because I've been with this idea for many years, and I had this barrier of developing it because one, I don't have like funds to do it, and two, I'm not technical, so I couldn't really I tried many times, but I couldn't really create a product. And now I have something almost ready. I think there's a long way to go and in building this prototype, but I was able to build something quite solid with zero money yet, because I kind of used the free version, and I got a promotional code that I found on Reddit. So it's really amazing what I was able to build so far with zero money invested. So I have like, this is like an old demo. I have built like different things, but the idea is that you can create tasks, and you have like a tag system in which you can put your interests and also your community and groups that you're part of, and you receive recommendations of tasks based on your tag system, the things that you said you're interested in. And you can also find people based on that, so we can help really the thing that I talked before about kind of putting effort in finding your peers and finding your community. So you can also have like a compatibility um research. That's It's not demonstrated in this demo, but it's already, if you go in the demo, you can see it. Like, when you search for people, you can see the tags you have in common. You have like a rating of compatibility percentage that we have with this person. And there are some persuasive technologies applying this. So the personalized test recommendation, I'm using kind of tailored information to help persuade people to do things that they do, because once you receive something that is personalized to you, you're more likely to follow that habit. There's also like reputation and praising through the social media. There's a ranking system. There are a lot of things in the roadmap that I want to develop as well in the realm of persuasive technologies to turn the experience more gamifiable and really more attractive and inducive for people to actually do stuff and help each other and coordinate locally. And what I'm planning to do is, I don't know, once I feel like the prototype is ready, my idea is that I we implement the project in partnership with an NGO that I'm part of, and I helped co-found in 2017. It's called Educar Mais. Carol, which is the the CEO of Educar Mais, and the person kind of that dreamed about it and make it happen. She's a friend of mine, so we met back then when she was starting, and I'm really she is one of those persons that like I want to help and stick around, and I really believe her dreams and what she's doing in her community. So she lives in a favela here in Rio, and she started by gathering people like the her neighbors and the kids in her neighborhood, and also collecting donation of children's book. And she opened like there is this website here to connect volunteers with NGOs. So she posted like an event, and that's how I found her. And I went there to like just to read for the kids as a volunteer, and I got like kind of fascinated about one, her potential and power to mobilize her community and build something, because she's good with people. I'm not that much. I'm more into the dreamer side. That's why I've been so long dreaming about this and not actually put it into practice. And she's really good at making things real and executing things. So I think we have like this great partnership, and my intention is to raise some funds to use as an excuse for people to use the app. So recruit around 100 participants from the NGOs, neighborhood, like the team, the professors, the moms, the neighborhoods, and the neighbors. So recruit them as research participants and do like this initial like try like collect the initial data about like how they contribute, how they volunteer, how their community organization is going, and say, oh, we have like a budget of resources that you can access to develop community projects, like using the our task system. So the idea is to have like some sort of budget that we can use to help them to incentivize them to use the uh the task recommendation engine, and with their use, how they kind of evaluate each task based on also the reputation they get from completing the task. We can have like a system for selecting which task will get the resource allocation, and then like then the idea is that this is like a research project. So at the end of like a period of time, based on the budget, how much money I'm able to get with this, is to publicate the results and track was the app actually useful and enhancing their a local coordination, like in a post-monetary way, what they did with the resources, how was the overall outcomes of the tasks that were created, and how it helped the NGO and all and these other things. And I think that it's a really good time for building this type of tools, that because we are seeing like how more constant the climate disaster to happen and the need for volunteer mobilization. And we're seeing how people, at least in my bubble, that I see like a lot of people kind of looking for alternatives to capitalism, alternatives to get back into community and community organizing. So that's something that is I feel like is growing and getting momentum. And we see a lot of like activists and peer-to-peer movements rising. There is also the theme of AI and the iBobo that is here, and also this need to talk about ethical alternatives. So I think that I'm building and I'm putting AI to the use with like a good intention, I'd say. And yeah, and also these issues about like data sovereignty and all this geopolitical conflict. In the part of tech, I feel like as I'm vibe coding, there are a lot of safety issues with the demo and overall like how it is structured right now. But I feel like if the pilot is successful and we see, okay, this there is an interest in using this, like people actually helped people like self-organizing and doing things for the community, and it really was beneficial for this community in place. I feel like I could go into like bigger steps and putting more effort in the technology and how the system is structured and how the data is stored and created. So yeah, I think I mentioned a little about me. So I mentioned about Educar Mais. I haven't mentioned about Muda, which is like the work that I currently doing and what pays the bills. And Muda is um, a community here in Brazil that created its own social currency. So it's a non-convertible currency. Really, the idea is that we trade products and service with this currency that we created called Muda. And yeah, maybe I have the time to talk a little about it some other time, but it's a really cool project as well. And then we explore kind of how can we create different currencies with different energy, and we explore a type of currency that is abundant, that we incentivize collaboration rather than competitions. And we do a lot of interesting projects in the realm of arts and agroecology. And yeah, I think, yeah, I'll stop rambling. Maybe we can have a conversation. We talk so much. And now I'm seeing there's some people in the room. Hi there. Mhm. Actually, this is the old demo, the vibe code. This one is I did with no code tools. This one is the TaskMates on top of this one is the one I did with vibe coding. And yeah, so guys, if you have like any questions or suggestions or something like to challenge any of like ideas that I've shared, I'm happy to know. And if you feel like also testing this out, and um it's not perfect yet. There's a lot of things that I still want to build, and I'm building daily because I'm using Lovable, and in the free package you can they kind of give you 5 credits a day. So I have to join in every day and do a little bit of improvement to the platform, so it's kind of taking time. But I'm also thinking of I'm also applying to like a few funding opportunities, and I'm thinking of building some sort of crowdfunding thing. And yeah.
Thanks. Yes, Simon. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah, if anyone has comments or questions, you are super welcome. I would like to maybe know like the I think you didn't go into that much detail of like how is like the experience for a user and like where the resources come from and so on like um,
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
yeah, what's like the experience for a I mean I could like kind of a small demo or like explaining it like how it yeah how it
Yeah,
looks like right.
maybe I can yeah, maybe I can share the now. Um, um, let me just share here. This is kind of how it's looking right now, and you can plug in. And then you have like your recommendations of tasks based on your tags. So when you create your profile, here you can like select your skills and interests, things that you're interested in, and your communities. So you can like create like a crypto leftist tag here. Like, me, you can create a tag here, and you select your tag, and this is part of community. So if you come here and select a tag, then in your dashboard you'll be able to see like the tasks that are created using the community tag. And you can have also like a feed of activity. You can see the tasks that people you follow have created, and your tasks and things that you've completed. So you can create a task, an offer, a request, or a personal task. And the same like idea like happens. You put like the related skills to the test that you're looking into, and this test will be shown to people that follow the tags and the community that is part of. And you can also create tags, so like interest things that you're like would like to coordinate around, that are interested in and part of. There's a so as I mentioned, there's a lot of the things that I need to improve. Like one of the things I like creating like an onboarding um ritual part that people can select more tags and have like interesting questions that are a little bit like journaling and really get people into thinking what are the tags that they want to put in their profile. So the profile is more rich in tags, and therefore the recommendation is like more successful. And that's what I mentioned in when you search, you can you get people that are recommended. So you see like people that have things and tags in common with you. And so far we have four users. I'm not really publishing and because I don't feel like it's ready. But if you guys like feel like helping me test it out and debug things, I'm happy to have you join me as well. But yeah, this is how the demo is looking so far. You also have like in your personal profile, you have, let me check Carol's profile. You have um like following, they have like your skills and tags. You can see like the tags I have in common with Carol, and you have your recommend reputation. Let me see my profile, because you have your reputation based on the tasks that you completed. So every time you complete a task, you get to vote and say like how was the interaction with the person, and you get the like the rating for the collaborator and the contributor, and you have your activities, and you can like share a testimonial about people as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much the process so far, but uh there's a lot to improve, as I mentioned.
So if I am correct, like anyone can create a task, and then anyone can work on that task. And then what happens after the task is completed? Like there is this rating, and is there any other reward or like the
So yeah, let me share again. um so when someone posts like Carol posted a task, you can say that you want to collaborate, meaning I want to help you out. And you can say like I want to request, meaning I also want that to happen. If it's like if it's a product or service, yes, like I want that. And collaborate, I will help you out. So you can collaborate or and you have like, and once you create a button, you're part of the task, and then the person who created the task kind of approves uh if you're collaborated or not. And if you're collaborated, then you can, if you're approved collaborator, then you can edit the task. But I still like want to like create subtasks within the task, so um there's some improvements with that. But the idea is that yeah, you can once you have like a set of collaborators, I let me, I think there was one, yeah, I think one task is missing. There's a little bugs as well, but once you are a collaborator, the idea is that that you can change, and the task and the marker is complete as well. I was interested in and what Sid said here. Um, you said it's a bad reputation to use AI. So Natalie, so yeah, my idea is that when I want to kind of do the activation in the Rio community, in a physical place in Rio, Brazil. So yeah, so they did that. The initial users would be in Brazil, yes. And about like the like it was the way I found to do something, to actually build something. As I mentioned before, I've been thinking about this project for more than 5 years now, unable to do anything, unable to progress. So and with no funds to hire any kind of developer. I'm not a developer, I just have like the dreams and the imagination. And and that was like the thing that allowed me to actually pursue my dreams and my actions. And as I mentioned before, I'm planning to do like a small like demo with like 100 participants, something I'm not really kind of thinking, oh, this is going to be not in this first trial at least. I don't think it's gonna be, oh, this is for like global population. I think it's for a research project that I want to test if persuasive technologies and all these type of systems is actually successful in getting people to coordinate locally and pause monetarily. That's my kind of goal. Like I want to and then create a research project around that. Yeah, I'm gonna take some time reading the comments, but guys, if you want to just open up your mic and say, please be welcome to.
Something that it's not clear to me. Sorry, like it's like the you mentioned something like the DAO treasury and rewards or like random rewards or so. How is the DAO treasury built? And I understood it's not only money, it's like it's resources, right? In general. So how is does that work or yeah? And how do people access those resources?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know yet. I have that's one thing that I need to figure out because I haven't yet like fundraise anything for this. So I don't have that set up yet. But my idea is that like once I get any kind of money in, it's the kind of the distribution is through people's use of TaskMates, like how like create like a system to determine which task based on reputation, as I mentioned before, based on like how they use and how they are interacting with the task, like the people, the person, the creator's reputation, and how they interact with other tasks, and how people, because there is like buttons and upvote, downvote buttons, like how many upvotes, how many likes the task got, and create like some sort of metrics within the app to say, okay, this task is like there's a kind of peer approval, so this is a good task to receive the funds, and also and my attention also to like create some sort of resource because it's not there yet, but create like a resource um list within the task, like what are the resources that you need to complete to do this task, like how and based on this resource as well, see how much of the budget this task is requiring. If it's low, then yeah, like it's like a low budget, maybe you get like a greater chance to be to receive the resources. So yeah, but this is just still like work in progress. Yeah. Nathan, nice to know that you know project and Rosinha. Yeah, we should probably connect. Because Rio, I don't know if you're been here or if you're from here or if you'd only work with them
Na-
digitally, but
Natalie left, eh?
Rio
She's
is
not around.
much
Uh, anyway,
thanks for interrupting. I'll be talking to her.
but I think Sibyl knows her, right? Is it?
Yes. Yep, yep, yep.
I don't know, guys. Do you have any more questions, suggestions, overall impressions?
Yeah, I think this is super interesting, especially like from the perspective more so of like how to integrate behaviors and like validate behavior theories, and not so much from a perspective of validating um, system theories. Um, what like can you say a little more about the persuasive behavior part? Like, what is What are some examples, and what could you see this changing, or like what would persuasive behavior exactly look like in reality, and what are like some scenarios that you could imagine?
Yeah, so I can like I think you're kind of familiar with like gamification and how like Duolingo, how they use like strikes, how every day you do strikes and kind of thing that gets you engaged and a little bit addictive. So they look into like this things that um when I mentioned like before, the author like has like several like principles that that was the theme of my talk at Def Connect as well. So there are like several principles I could go on talking about each of them. Maybe I should explain a bit more, but like one of the like say one of the principle is reduction. So if you want to get a someone influence someone to do something, for instance, if I want to influence you to eat a fruit, like let's say I want you to eat healthier and I want you to eat fruit, one of the things that I can do to increase the possibility of you eating fruit is reducing your effort in doing that task, so making that task the easiest possible for you. So for instance, I can say, okay, I want you to eat a fruit, or I could give you the fruit like sliced and ready to eat. So when I kind of do the effort and the job for you, I kind of reduce, yeah, I can increase your likelihood, and I increase my chances of actually influence you to eat the fruit. But again, it's influence. It's not coercive. It's not I'm not forcing you to do anything. Like I'm giving you, I'm providing you, say, oh, eat fruit, and providing you with a plate with sliced and ready to eat fruit. But you can also say, no, yeah, I'm not gonna eat it. I don't want to eat it. So it's just techniques to kind of help people and kind of induce people to do things that you want them to do. So there is a design technique. It's a design tool. And so my intention is, okay, I want people to coordinate. So I want people to engage in more actions of mutual aid, of self-care, also because I think that self-care is regenerative. You have to like be well to participate and take care of your community. So and also environmental stewardship. So you have to also take care of yourself, take care of your peers and community, and also take care of your environment. So that is the behavior, the regenerative behavior that TaskMates in trying to influence people to do. And one of the things that, as I mentioned, reduction, one of the things that helps and turns it more persuasive, if I reduce the effort that you have in finding those tasks. So the personalized task recommendation takes like two principles. One is the tailored information that I mentioned. Like once you have personalized information, so I know what you're into, I know who you are, I know the things that you are interested and motivated to do. And two, I kind of reduce the effort. So you don't have to, for instance, my example with how I found the Garmais. So I had to enter a website and I have to look into like several different projects to look for one that was close to my community. I had some reading, so I can reduce that, and just as in a social media thing, as you're like scrolling, you could see, okay, I can do that, and just put in your face the exact task that will fit your interest and your place. So there's also this um, local geographic and physical kind of interconnectivity. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but there are several other kind of persuasive principles, and but the idea is just kind of using these things that they know that kind of get people triggered to action, and how computers can do that, and how computers can be like more uh persistent, like they don't get tired, and how can we actually use them and design them to influence things that are actually positive. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, no, it helps. It helps to think about it. I'm just like imagining what it would look like to use the software and how to plug it into those like actionable incentives, or like for instance, how to make something easier for someone using the reputation or the task system. Like for instance, maybe someone could get a coupon or something to make something. I mean, I'm thinking about money again, so I'm just wondering, like, what other examples are there, how it could integrate into real life to change behavior. I'm just trying to think of examples to make it more tangible in my mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. Uh, could you talk a little bit about Simbi?
Sorry.
Could you talk about Simbi that you posted in the chat?
Yeah, no, I was just wondering if you know it.
No, no, I don't.
Well, then you maybe you can maybe check it, because I mean I don't know all the details, and especially maybe the difference is what you are just what Leo was asking. Like I was kind of thinking maybe it's just a matter of, if I knew like what my neighbors need, like I might be willing to help them, but right now I don't, right? Not sure
Yes, yes, that's
if
precisely.
yeah, not sure if the solution is an app or a website or just talking to them and having better relationships, but either way, like I think that's just an example, right? If you know what people need, then you are maybe yeah, closer
Yes,
to making it real.
exactly the point. And one of the pain points I felt like in my life, like I don't know my neighbors. I don't know my neighbors at all. And sometimes there are kind of things that we have in common, and things that we could be doing to improve our community, and some real like friends that I've missed their opportunity to meet and collaborate with to take care of our own place. And if you have this, and there's another actually, like the quality of information, like providing information of quality, is another persuasive point. Because if you can kind of look into, you say, oh, okay, that's the one, that's the things that people are trying to do or needing or thinking about, like maybe, okay, I want to plant more trees in my neighborhood, but I don't know any neighbor who will be willing to, so I can and use the system to find the people that are interested in the same things that I'm interested in, and do something. And and also uh and also um there's a aspect of collective intelligence, and knowing what are the things that are being done and what things that people intend to do. And it also kind of increases, it helps coordination. So, and also helps you find your peers, the people that you kind of have things in common, and facilitates this connection, because we are so kind of stuck in our own lives, in our own squares, that really kind of forget their responsibility for connection and friendship and collaboration really close to us. But we don't see, because we just, okay, like let me go home and do and go out, I go out to work, I don't spend time with them. So yeah, this is one of the things that really get me like inspired to do it as well, like being able to create like this map and vision of what are the things, and connect people based on their intrinsic motivations and interests. Thanks for pointing that out. I should talk about this like as an example. See, you were typing something. Maybe you feel like sharing.
I was also thinking about how blockchain, what role it plays in all this, and then like I'm no expert. I have like very little knowledge about intents, but I know rather, and maybe some others like you know about that. And my understanding is something like that, right? Like you say what you intend to do, and then there it's usually just like transactions or whatever like on the blockchain that happen, but it is something similar like in the real life, which I when I first heard about intents, like that's what came to mind. Like it would be nice to have basically what TaskMates does, right? Like make explicit what we all want. And I like this button that there was there of what is it like request, right? Like you like it. It's kind of yes, I want this to happen. So if we can see that and that hey, a number of people want this to happen, then I think that's valuable information. And yeah.
Yeah, this is another kind of thing that because we can put so many things on chain, like this decision, so what should be on chain or not. And one of the things that kind of inspired me to start building and try Vibe coding again was like a process like in for a blockchain. They had like a builders program for so I think Scrum blockchain. And as I'm doing it, I kind of got into vibe coding again, and I was able to build this demo. So when you complete when you complete a task, it get registered in the task chain now. But there are other possibilities of things that you can record in chain. But I think that being able to save the task, so say, okay, that's actually happened, and you can have like uh a trustworthy register of things that happened, and also maybe maybe um the comments, the voting for reputation, how things went. So I think would be nice as well. And also the once the money is in like the DAO part of it, maybe would be interesting to have. But it's a question that I often ask myself, like how can I integrate blockchain to what I'm doing, and I don't really have an answer for it yet.
Yeah, you would need to have like a good, like solid, um, like need for a settlement layer that's programmable, right? Which in a non-monetary application like that can take a whole lot of forms. Yeah, it was cool that you mentioned intents though, Unai, because that's kind of one of the spaces that intents are meant to serve is serving those like kind of non-monetary use cases or just requests and offers that don't necessarily reduce down to a dollar utility function, right? Like maybe that's one way to solve the problem, but it's not the only way. And kind of there's not a whole lot of coordination layers for those requests and offers that really do kind of take that agnostic approach. They're very nascent still. There's lots of good intent and solver systems for DeFi, but for other stuff, yeah, it's kind of more of uh, a bit of a learning and research space. Maybe that's because the infrastructure is not launched yet, but it's at least something to read about and stuff because if you can express the needs and offers in this app for the tasks and gigs and all that in using a protocol that allows you to integrate with various other blockchain systems more seamlessly without necessarily being reliant on the blockchain, but you can still utilize the properties that are advantageous to you or network with the peers on that network.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, I totally have to like to dive deeper into, but yeah, sounds interesting. Is this related to this site that you shared?
Yeah, Anoma's pretty great. My colleague Exunt did an amazing series on sort of the state of the art when it comes to intents, at least as far as people's ideas about how they can take cool applications like yours and start using intents in them. It's a very nascent space. It's more people thinking about how they can best utilize this as the infrastructure is being developed. But it is a pretty darn inspiring space as well. I'll try to find you a link, and there's a lot of cool videos to watch.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I'll look into it if you like later if you're available to chat and provide insights, because it's yeah, it's definitely something that I'm kind of interested in, because I'm in the crypto space, but um yeah, as I have this kind of radical views and ideas, sometimes I don't really click because yeah, there's yeah, there is issues. So yeah, it would be nice um to look into the technology in like a more loosened way, and not really critical, I would say. And if you like a Moody, Seaver.
Hey, so I didn't really catch your answer to I asked a question about the about your AI use, and I didn't get your answer. It's interesting that you would rely on AI so much when it has such a bad reputation. Anything to say about that, or?
Yeah, I do a little bit because it's the thing that I can do. Like otherwise, I wouldn't be able to build anything for now because I don't have funds to pay like a developer or anything, and I haven't found someone to do it. And
It's also like only a certain portion of the audience who kind of uses social judgment and shame among their peers as a way to exercise their political opinions and wills, right? So yeah, there are going to be a lot of people who have reactionary attitudes toward AI. um and a lot of that is well founded, and maybe it would be cool to explore, like, more ethical alternatives and all that. It always is, but um yeah, especially in places like this, there's going to be also a lot of folks who aren't going to judge you on that as well. So finding your audience is definitely important.
I mean, if it works, then like most people don't really care how it was made. I think, especially with software. I mean, even with material products, if something is doing what it's supposed to do as a thing, most people don't really care where it's from or how it's made. And with software, I feel like that's still true for most people. Yeah, but yeah. But yeah, go ahead, Siri.
Thank you for answering my question.
Hey guys, sorry. My light went off and I lost internet connection.
Oh,
But yeah, no, I'm on mobile now. Yeah, but I think you answered my question, right? Mike, can you hear me?
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. I just said that I think like most people don't really care how something was made as long as it works and does what it's supposed to do. I think most people like are fine with like even with material products and with software um, as well. Yeah, that just yeah. If it works and does what it's supposed to do, then most people don't really care how it's made. If it
Yeah,
was made with
totally.
AI.
Yeah, and especially the public that I want to test it with, they totally don't care about it like at all. And on the other hand, I think they probably are the people that talk really stupid things to ChatGPT all the time. And yeah, not that I agree with it. And I do have concerns of my own. I do think that we should kind of have really alternatives that are kind of not environmentally damaging and all these things, and not like sucking all our data. But yeah, I'm trying to work with things that I can, and I'm not gonna lie, it was really kind of game changing to be able to share the vision and see the creation, and it really unlocked a lot of I feel powerful, and when I actually do the things that I'm asking to do, I can't stop laughing. And yeah, for a non technical person, a non dev, to actually be able to create an app. So it's a PWA, like you can download the app in your mobile, and I get to see, oh, this is my app. I feel so good inside. Like, okay, it's happening. It's materializing. So yeah, I can lie. I'm really helpful. I'm really grateful for this part of AI so far. But I don't agree with some other parts. But it's another discussion. And hopefully, if I get building and the project gets traction, I can get into the more ethical side of technology and connect to people that are building in a way that resonates more with the values that I'm talking about now.
If every AI critic ran some peer-to-peer infrastructure nodes to help folks have an alternative to this corporate AI they hate so much, we could build so much amazing shit together, right? But yeah, I mean, that's complaining doesn't provide an alternative, but we can actually build things that provide alternatives.
Is there any actually? I read somewhere that Node was, I don't know if creating a package is for something like that, or I'm not.
Yeah, there's several. I mean, it depends on what kind of like compute and validation you need, right? There's networks that specialize in like trusted execution environments, and some that are more just like, we'll sell you raw compute. But there's lots of peer-to-peer networks that you can just use to run your own AI, and also contribute your hardware to the network and get paid for it. So um, the problem is it's not particularly popular, right? In the common discourse, we don't think about like different ways to purchase compute that aren't new horrible data centers. And quite frankly, like all these new data centers going in, they're not the data centers that are currently providing the inference for AI, because they're not finished yet. An unfinished data center can't provide inference. So most of the data centers people are complaining about are not the ones that you're using, right? They're more conventional, and that means that they can be replaced with conventional alternatives. We don't need super new fancy data centers for AI, because that's not what we're using for what we're doing today. But it is expensive. Like if you want to bring up a node, just to use yourself and share with your community, it's probably going to cost you 5 or 10,000 USD or so. So, a community can only afford so many of those. But if we had enough to share with each other, that would be a lot of capacity.
Do you have any links to where I can read more on on what you're talking about with regards to peer-to-peer AI?
Oh yeah, I have a probably out of date document I wrote up for a coworker, but I'll share it in the chat. It at least has some examples for different types of more decentralized AI alternatives, whether that's like open source technology, or like decentralized infrastructure and that kind of thing. It's from early this year, so it might be old.
Mhm. Great.
Does that also work
That
for
would be
Vibe?
great. Thank you. If you could post that in the chat.
Yeah, I'll drop it
Does
in there.
that infrastructure also work actually for vibe coding, or or I mean, I guess, is it the same infrastructure or maybe even interface than than a chatbot? I mean, I know that like creating a chatbot, an LLM chatbot or something on local device even is possible, right? Like even without internet, without a server. But yeah, for like vibe coding, is that like currently like doable with like peer to peer? Does that
Well,
question
vibe
even make
coding is
sense? Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I get you. Vibe coding is mostly about the tooling, not necessarily about the inference. And a lot of the vibe coding tooling that you use on the day to day is probably open source. So if you're using Claude Code, that runs on the Agent SDK. Um, there's the Vercel AI SDK that they put in everything, or the one it's based on. So there's lots of different open source tools that are strategically open source because these are from usually platform vendors who want people to adopt that technology because it's what works on their platform, right? Makes them the easy choice. Or I guess what do they call it? That moat or whatever. So most of that tooling you can just pick up and use. And for instance, like Cloudflare has the Vibes SDK, where they kind of take care of the platform stuff, so you don't have to like run Kubernetes and all that if you want to bring vibe coding to your community. And certainly for just yourself, I mean, most of the tooling is going to be free, so it's just a matter of where you get your inference. Um, but yeah, you can get your inference from a lot of places. Plug it into your Claude Code and go. You're not stuck with Anthropic just because you want to use Claude Code. They natively actually support using different models. So you can use Gemini, or you can use Llama running DeepSeek, or whatever you got.
Interesting. Okay, so if I had a server with enough power, I could just use Claude vibe coding, the regular Claude vibe coding interface, and the computer would run on my own server.
Yeah, exactly.
Just yeah, but for instance, but this would require some level of understanding code, right? Because my experience, I really liked Lovable because they did everything like UX and everything just from typing, just text, and then the whole product is kind of available and hosted and ready to be used. And I think like what you're saying, like using like a cold code in your own in your own AI, you wouldn't have like this level of details, right?
It kind of depends. If you're doing user interface work, Lovable is particularly well suited for that. You're going to have a hard time kind of building your own experience that's like Lovable. But for most purposes, when you're just doing stuff on your local computer, um, like really what you need to do is execute code on your local machine, and something like Claude Code is capable of doing that. It can create a script and execute it for you, and you can also set it to different modes that basically instruct it to explain what it's doing to you, and help you learn as you go, so you can start to get over some of those knowledge gaps, where a platform like Lovable is very much meant to abstract away all of the complexity, so you don't need to think about it and you can just design your application. But that comes at the cost of you not having to think about it and not learning. So if you can start to do stuff a little bit on your own machine, and put stuff in explainer mode, and ask it to explain what it's doing and teach you, also knowing that you're working with a robot who's making mistakes, you have to do research and all that, then you can build more agency to use different tools more freely. But yeah, that is going to be a little bit of a learning curve for you, right? Stepping off of the fully built platforms and onto something that just works on your local computer. But then it gives you more choices as to what tools to use.
Sorry, what was the name of the platform you mentioned just now?
Lovable. It's like a software as a service app for vibe coding.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm super interested in learning. I tried to migrate from um Lovable to Claude Code, and yeah, and I got into this. They were the instructions were like open a terminal and do stuff, and then I got stuck. And yeah, but yeah, it's nice that that you mentioned about this like learning curve, because I feel like if I want to take this long term, which I do, it's interesting that I learn and I'm not fully dependent on, because I have this concern about like safety and also how good the code is. But one good thing is that the code is being created, is it's out there, like it's open source. So I don't know, I feel like I could uh, use this code that's been created. But yeah, I'd totally be interested in migrating and understanding. So thanks for the incentive.
Yeah, you can always open up another chat window and just ask the AI to walk you through doing it on your computer. That's what I do all the time. Have Claude Code and Claude Desktop, and it's the blind leading the blind a little bit, but you can get stuff done.
That's great.
Thanks for sharing, rather.
Oh, and I wanted. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
One thing I wanted to ask about the interface. So it's possible to both add tasks and also requests, right? Or is that the same?
No, you can add a task, and this task you can tag it as, or the type of the task, or like request. You can request something, or you can offer something, or you can just share like a personal thing that you've done and you're like happy about doing, like a social media thing. Oh, like I did something. You can share like a personal thing that you created, that you've done. So you can share
Interesting.
task requests, and both requests and offers. People can collaborate and request. So you can set this up, like you can say, oh yeah, allow collaborators and allow requests, and then you can manage the people that are involved in. And once the task complete, you can evaluate the collaborators. So if you request for something and someone does it for you, they can like mark it as complete, and then you kind of have this mutual evaluation thing. And yeah, the idea is that like people can like in community, like in physical place, you can say like, oh yeah, I want this to be done, and people have like a possibilities of things that they could do, and also they can offer their things. And so yeah, that's and that's the idea.
Interesting. So the evaluation is also is a step like completing the task. So if person A puts up a task as a request and person B completes the task, then person A probably confirms, okay, it's completed. But then is the evaluation a separate step, or is that the evaluation, just saying that it's completed?
I know once it's completed, you there's like a 5-star evaluation list, like Uber. Like once
Okay.
the ride finish, you can evaluate each other. That's kind of how it's set up now. So once it's completed, you can get you like an Uber, like 5-star evaluation, and it kind of builds like each person's reputation. So yeah, that's
And
how it's. Go ahead.
and can people who were not directly involved in completing it, can they also evaluate it?
No, but they can like the task.
Okay.
Like I think that's a form of evaluation as well, but not you won't like interfere in your reputation because you're not involved in the task. But it's a metric of evaluation as well for the task.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So and that does play into the overall reputation or no?
Yeah, my intention and is that it will kind of play a part in determine which tasks will kind of get the resources, and like if also but I think it's like backstage type of system, like people doesn't have to know, but like if you're someone that your tasks were well evaluated both by the individuals participating in the task, but the overall community, like your your upvotes or your tasks, your own task will kind of have like a greater spread in the recommendation engine. So the things that you post and things that you are kind of pushing forward will have like a greater visibility, but it's still in in the future plans.
Yeah, that makes sense. Interesting.
Yeah,
I
I
also,
haven't.
yeah.
No, yeah, I haven't yet built the system that kind of determines the like the task, but the idea is that like weekly, depending on like the fund, like that we have like some sort of, because one persuasive principles as well is kind of random rewards. So it kind of, you have like your dopamine centers to complete tasks, and then one of your tasks gets gets a reward, and you get kind of hooked into completing tasks and doing things. So yeah, but I haven't built the system yet. You asking something?
Yeah, I guess just the first counterpoint that always comes to mind when thinking about like upvote type of systems is the challenges of like it becoming a popularity contest, which is just a human group evaluation issue. Um, which yeah, I don't know, it's difficult to get around creating popularity contests. Usually there's an aspect of a popularity contest, right? In whatever group evaluation system. Um, yeah, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just always the first counterpoint that comes to mind. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And I have, but yeah, we can also always kind of build like backup plans and look into like ways to push the kind of the unseen, the non yeah, those things that kind of get um obscured by this popularity contest. I'm not a huge fan of it as well, but I do believe there's we do have to get some metrics around how people are perceiving things and how like the social dynamics in a community, how they happened. But there are some countermeasures that I believe that are important. So I do think, and then so there is the priority. So if you even though you don't have like a great um, so you can like if you set up a high priority test, it will get like higher visibility. But then you people maybe tend like, oh, then you people who use high priority randomly. Yeah, it's tough. It's a great question, but um
Y-
yeah,
Yeah, but
something to think about that.
it's probably also like one of those things where like yeah, in theory it's a problem, and we'll think about it when we get there. But if that problem really exists in a meaningful world, in a meaningful way, that also means that there's like already great adoption, and before great adoption, that that issue isn't really that uh, that much of an issue.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but so, for instance, with like things like upvotes, would you make them anonymous or not anonymous?
Now they are anonymous, but
Interesting.
it's like yeah, yeah,
Makes sense. I think that's a good choice.
yeah. You can only see like the collaborators and the people like requesting task.
Hmm.
Like
Mhm.
likes and inputs, they are and they are anonymous, but you can only kind of do one thing.
Like currently I can only work on one task.
No, yeah, you can only you can, yeah, which it doesn't make sense. Yeah, because you cannot like upvote and downvote, but it doesn't make sense. It's stupid. Yeah, forget about it.
You mean it's only possible to do one or the other?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine. Yeah.
It was a stupid comment.
Sorry, did you mention that there was blockchain integration somewhere?
Yeah, so right now the tasks, when you complete a task, you can register on a testnet blockchain. Because yeah, it's I don't think I should put it on chain and have costs of transactions now, but maybe in the future. And Redder was given other ideas on how to implement blockchain that I need to look into.
Actually, I'm working on some off-chain rollup for like off-chain tasks. So might I think it might be similar. I don't know.
Hey, Fan. Yeah, I think you. Yeah, you
Oh,
joined
sorry.
later on.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was looking at the website. I'm assuming like I have to look more into it because I don't have full context. But going through it looks like a cool idea. I was just saying like uh, if you wanted to like post the tasks as like an IPFS hash and have that represent like a roll up of maybe like the last hour or like some state tree. There's like ceramic too. It's I don't know. It's more into like the data versioning stuff and like CID, so content based systems. But yeah, it's like it could be annoying to like have to always update the chain every time like the state changes for like and every time someone adds a new task. So yeah,
Mm.
it was, I don't know if that'd be useful.
Yeah, sounds super technical. Some of the words you mentioned, I was, what
Yeah,
is
I
that?
know.
But overall, I think it sounded interesting. If I kind of if it actually kind of went public and people were using and there's attraction, I think it would be something interesting to look into. But for now, like as it's really experimental and um I haven't really kind of shared if and I haven't really put into use. Yeah, I don't think that will be like something for now. I don't know.
That's a cool idea.
The whole concept of like making intrinsic, like matching it more to intrinsic motivations, I think that's super fascinating, and like it's something that's pretty I don't know. I think it would help in our world in different ways, and it struck a chord. Like if we can, like I mean that is to a large extent, I think, like better coordination, quote unquote. I don't really like the word coordination, but um, if if we don't do things because of extrinsic motivations, but we can match the intrinsic ones, and for that we need those type of match systems, like this. Yeah, so that's interesting aspect. So one thing that I'm like wondering about is, you also mentioned gift economy is like one of the things that you came across like years ago as like a entry point into this whole world, and every time I think about gift economy and mutualism as well, I'm wondering like how much does it help to specify quantify work and efforts being done towards something, or how much is part of the value of the concept is the unquantified spirit of giving without quantified amounts of effort, or I guess work or labor maybe would be the terminology. But I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I think it totally does. That's one thing that that got me into my beef with money as well. Like that kind of your value turns into like a number in your bank account, and that's how you're measuring like value and status and all those things, and all other kind of things like quality of life, and how well you're perceived by your peers, how much of a good human you are. All those things get discarded, and yeah. And when I think about like gift economy, one of the things that I feel like it was one of the things that it kind of prevented many of the systems to get going, is that somehow we, not that we need to quantify, but we need the recognition, like the reciprocity as well. Like how can we, and when we think about barter system and the lie that they say that it's like, oh, it's a it was before like an equal share, like, oh, if I give you something, you have to, the transaction must be like with the person that I'm transacting. You don't consider that the thing will come back to you and through another person in another contest in another situation. But somehow we need to, I feel like we need to have this contribution visible, not necessarily quantifiable, but somehow like visible. And I think like I feel like this is one of the things that we as humans feel the need to, like being seen, see that the things that we're doing are not completely in vain. So I think it helps that we create like tracking systems, but not necessarily measuring things. And yeah, but then when we think about like distribution and of resources, then maybe a mix of measurements could be helpful. But yeah, I don't know if I answer your question or comment, but it's something that I think about as well, like should we be, how should we kind of value ourselves, and even this repetition system, which is like what I'm kind of basing the most important matters for person will now, like, is the reputation system, how you kind of people. I don't think that that should be a thing or the thing, but I think we should have some sort of way to have this feedback loop from the interactions and push people into like behaving well with each other. Like, yeah, don't just mess up because it will mess up with the reputation. So be nice. And then I go back to a Black Mirror episode that people were so focused on the reputation they would do like really stupid things and fall too deeply into pre-pressure. Okay, so I think I'm babbling, but just to say that these are turf questions. But yeah, I feel excited to experiment on them and see where it goes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's a difference between recognition and measuring. Like recognition is important and like to an extent to human nature. But where it loses value is when everything needs to be measured, because then it's not an intrinsic want to recognize. It's a need to measure everything and to quantify everything, and that's where it's no longer recognition. So yeah, I don't know. It's yeah. I think like it's a motivation. it's a difference in motivation that makes a difference of like how much it actually means.
So, sorry, I kind of missed a lot of that last bit of conversation. Can you back up a bit?
Um, well, I wish I could.
Yeah, maybe I could summarize. We were talking about difference between measurement and reputation, and Civil was kind of questioning how we need to measure things and turn that into a value systems. I think that's it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Basically, it started from asking like, is part of the value of something like a gift economy or also mutualism, is that does it lose part of the value through quantifying the efforts, or is it even needed? I mean, it probably is needed for like some kind of scaling. But yeah, I mean, in like gift economy and some versions, it's far from quantifying. But then, yeah, the more you systemize, the more you scale, the more you quantify usually. And I think sometimes, well, oftentimes with quantification, a lot gets lost. And like, I think it's one of the major issues in our world is just like increasing efficiency, reducing friction, quantifying everything. Just leads to I don't know, dehumanization. But those are that's very very broad strokes everything. But yeah, maybe that summarizes a little bit.
Right. So thank you for that. So so what makes so TaskMates? It sounds similar. Sounds similar to like websites like Trello. Is it just like a how is it besides the blockchain integration? What else distinguishes it from just Trello and stuff like that?
Yeah, Trello is kind of a task management for teams, and TaskMates more like a task coordination, like for collaborative communities. Like you get to think of it as a social network that instead of posts, you get to see tasks of people around you and the community of things that are requesting or offering. So it's more of it has like more collaborative frame. It's not like for closed teams that you get to build your coordinate your task within your team. It's more like, okay, I'm a part or a member of the word, and I want to share my gifts and my talents, and I want to connect to people that are interested in and the things that I'm interested in, so we can work together. And it kind of enhances this matchmaking system, so you get to see the tasks that are related to the things that you're intrinsically interested into. So yeah, I think the difference is this social network uh, aspect of it, I would say.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't know, guys. We've been quite a while now. I don't know if you have like a time limit for the session or should wrap up. How you're feeling?
Well, we don't have it officially. Like usually around an hour, but if like today people want to stay longer, you are welcome. But yes, we can wrap up if or like I actually would like to go to sleep soon. But feel free to stay longer or yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel a little bit hungry.
Good, good.
Yeah. But it was really nice. I really thank you, Unai, for the invite to speak and explain a little bit more about it. I feel like every time I talk to about it, it gets kind of easier and more fluid too. I remember first talking about it, I would get so confused and mixed in work. It's there's a lot of topics that I'm exploring, and I would get lost in all these different aspects of it. And so I feel like now I'm becoming better at explaining and make it more fluid, and it was really nice to be here and share. Thank you.
Yes, yes, super. I don't know if I understood you correctly before, but I understood that you said that like your ideas are too radical and sometimes don't fit with certain audiences. I would say that they perfectly fit here. So yeah, it was very nice, very inspiring, and I don't know. I really hope maybe that we can experiment with it at some point here also. So yeah.
Yes, yes, thank you so much for that. I'm happy to be able to share like my ideas like clearly and have like a nice acceptance. Thank you guys for being here overall. I don't know if you have any final comments.
Thank you for showing this. This is really inspiring and so cool that it actually is like fully vibe coded. I've not tried to vibe code, but this is this has given me some confidence that it actually can work. And and really, I don't know, lots of interesting ideas in there, and like making my head spin with like what it could maybe work with, and who is maybe working on something similar in this aspect, and maybe not, and we'll see. But it's definitely super inspiring.
Yeah, I would recommend Lovable because I tried Versal back in I think August last year. I don't know if they are better now, but it was a painful process because when I asked something, it would change to change something. It would change the part that I was happy with, so it was really messy. And then tried again with Lovable and it went kind of fluid. It kind of actually understand what I'm asking and it does it kind of in a good way. So yeah, I would totally recommend it. Yeah.
One day I'll use AI, maybe.
Okay.
Thank you so much. See you later.
Thanks a lot. See you around.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.